Los Angeles. Welcome to Good Morning, LaLa, and I'm Dr. Erin.
I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm GMLA. This is Good Morning, LaLa, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Also available on Apple TV and Roku via the EverTalk app.
And it's Miracle Monday, y'all. We've come together each day to know the truth, live on spiritual principle, and align with universal law. And today we're going to talk about tithing, not old school church tithing, but where are you putting your time, your talent, and your treasure, and knowing that the universe has to return it multiplied abundantly.
There we
so
go.
We're going to talk about that.
Love the alliterations, Miracle Monday.
That's
time,
right.
treasure.
How are you guys? How's your weekend?
It's fantastic. It was fast.
Yeah?
Right?
It was?
Mine was.
Well, we'll get to that after we introduce our very special guest this morning. Hello, everyone, back in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being with us. We've got Nick Basta, hot off of Harriet, one of the most talked about films of this season. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
So we'd like to know a little bit about your morning routine and how you start your day here in Good Morning, La La Land.
Pretty much every day I start it with coffee, probably for the last 35 years. Without it, it's not really a day. Drive my daughter to school in North Carolina, and then I write for 3 hours.
Wow, that is a trek from LA to North Carolina. Every day
For the premiere. Harriet premiere tomorrow.
Well, thank you for being with us this morning, Marla Matt is in the house. She is a relationship expert for entrepreneurs.
Love that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So what's your morning routine like? How do you start your day?
My day starts in bed with some gratitude. So gratitude for my physical body, for my health, for my life, and then I extend it out for my partner, and I roll over and have gratitude for him, and then I start my day with intention and vision, and how do I want to be throughout my day.
Love that. So what's your vision and intention for today?
To shine out love as light, as bright, as wonderful as possible today.
Ooh. I'll have what she's having.
And you always do that, by the way. You do that every day, so yeah.
Well, as the founder and CEO of The Lifestyle Perfected, how have you perfected your mornings?
Actually my mornings, I used to start my mornings feeling upset and really kind of not so happy, which is why I started a morning routine. And when I wake up, similar to Marla, I practice gratitude. And I make it really simple at first. Like I feel grateful for being in my bed, for my pillow, for my blanket, like things that are very easy to be grateful for. And then I work my way up. I used to pick up my phone and, kind of feel stressed. So I wanted to feel good about picking up my phone. So now I send out loving messages. As soon as I pick the phone up, we had a loving message today, this morning. And then I stretch, set my intentions, and actually, just focus on having a great day.
Love that. Such great advice, too, to start where it's easy, especially with the gratitude, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for being with us. We look forward to continuing the conversation later in the show.
Oh, I'm excited to talk about them. I adore those two humans. Oh my gosh.
It's going to be a great conversation. Yes, and we are expecting a few other guests, but here in Los Angeles, we are experiencing a state of emergency with the fires happening at the Getty Center. So we woke up to an evacuation warning again today. Yes, I live in Sherman Oaks, which is just the other side of the 405 where the fires are happening. And even on our way to the studio, you could see the smoke and the flames. So my heart, my thoughts, my prayers are with everyone. Be safe. If they ask you to evacuate, please do.
Oh, definitely sending prayers out for sure.
Absolutely.
It's intense. Feel so blessed. We had an amazing weekend, you guys. I have to say that it's been so fascinating. So I don't know if you watched my stories, but I was at a family reunion this weekend. We do it once a year. And we actually come together for philanthropy. We give away money, which is really kind of ironic because I grew up very poor. It was really interesting. It was kind of like rich dad, poor dad kind of a thing. My mom's side of the family was very poor. She grew up from a lineage almost like below poverty, generations back. And my dad's side of the family, generations back, was one of the wealthiest families in America. So it's been really interesting to watch the whole thing. And the family that put together the philanthropy fund was basically a lot of the family money has gone away through the Depression and things like that. But luckily, the philanthropy has been able to sustain, and a lot of the family members do very well financially, but on their own. And so it's just beautiful, and it was really cool for my son. I think the biggest blessing is for the kids, for them to see how we're committed to giving back. and we get involved, and everyone kind of presents of who they give money to and why that matters to them, and it's such a blessing, you
Oh,
guys.
it's awesome.
So
Sounds
cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
All about the kids. Love the kids,
right.
right? Yeah.
How about you guys?
I went to a UNICEF masquerade ball this weekend. It was amazing.
Which is one of like the coolest events that
Yeah.
happens in LA. So
Yeah,
where
super
was
cool.
it? Tell us about it. Did you dress up?
I know. The
All the
ultimate
things.
question. It was at Kimpton Lapeer Hotel. It was beautiful. That's where
One
Erin
of my
first
favorite places.
for Soul Society events,
Yeah.
exactly. And Billie Eilish performed.
I mean, what? You
Pretty cool.
breezed over that
Yeah,
one.
it
Was
pretty
that
cool.
insane?
Yeah, it was amazing. Honestly, amazing. And it wasn't a huge crowd. It was just like, big enough to be super fun, but small enough to be intimate. So it was awesome.
love that.
Yeah, tons of fun. Great cause, of course. UNICEF.
So what was your costume?
Well, the great thing about it is, because we always joke, I don't want to work at my social life. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
So the whole point was to go to a masquerade ball where everybody pretty much wears, whatever, a blazer, suit,
I
and
can't
dress.
see- I can't
and they
see-
carry you around the mask.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can't see you in a onesie.
No, not going to do the onesie probably. No, for sure. Yeah.
We're getting you in a onesie this week.
Oh, man, I'm so scared. You have to pay me a lot for that.
You probably have a lot of fun. You'll be like, oh my gosh, you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
that is beyond my pay grade right there, the onesie, for
my
sure. How was your weekend, Jess?
It was a relaxing weekend full of really great art and food. One of my friends had a rooftop birthday, and she had an art exhibit, which was gorgeous. Aubrey, who of course has featured some of our guests here on Good Morning LaLa. And then one of my dear friends started our very own supper club. So once a month, the friends that I consider family in LA are going around trying the restaurants that have been in our bucket list, because we're all so busy, and we really decided, you know what, we need Sunday family dinners. So our first one was at Major Domo, downtown in the Arts District. Amazing meal, you guys. Award-winning chef. It was so cool. And I was the only girl, and it was so funny because it was this group that we play poker with. And I'm always one of the last ones standing. So it was like poker family dinner downtown in the Arts District. It was really
There's some
That's awesome.
amazing
That sounds
restaurants
fun.
in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I think you could live here for 10 years and never even hit them.
Oh, for sure, right? A
Right?
fraction of them. Yeah.
Amazing,
Well, you're going to run
right?
out of money before you run out of restaurants. I promise you that.
Exactly. But also, there was another moon situation happening last night, a new moon, and I love following the account Moon Omens. No, I'm not sponsored by them, but I do really love the insight that they share. And so they sent everyone who follows them an affirmation to meditate on for the new moon. So I want to share that with you because I think it's really important, especially in entering like this new phase and the new week. It's saying, I'm letting go of my assumed timeline, which was so key and really resonated with me because I feel like I'm in a hurry to catch up where I think I should be in my life. And then it says, I trust, surrender, and accept divine timing. I'm grateful for roadblocks, uncertainties, fears, insecurities, and doubts that I experience internally because I'm like an alchemist, and I choose to transform those dark sides of myself into light and use them to upgrade my being. Amen.
love
Talk about
that.
Miracle
Affirmation.
Monday,
Yes,
right?
it is.
We call it not outlining, not having like knowing how it's going to happen or when it's going to happen, but just staying true and taking inspired action around all that.
Well, especially when you know something is going to happen and you trust and you believe in that so deeply, just hurry up and happen already. You know what I mean?
The ambulance going by is confirmation from the universe, so it says yes,
Yes,
for
that's right.
sure.
It's all happening.
So speaking of Miracle Monday, Manifesting Money, Mindful Monday, whatever you want to call it, we're talking about the law of tithing, and it's actually a law. It's actually kind of more like the law of abundance. It's actually multiplied abundantly. So, back in the day, I remember being part of spiritual centers, and there was a lot of pressure to give tithing 10% of your income. And I remember kind of being resentful because I'm like, wait, I go to 1 hour on Sunday to a service, and I'm in one class that I pay for. Why would I give you 10% of my income? That makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I started researching and looking up like biblical stuff to whatever and what it really means. And tithing is really about your time, your talent, and your treasure. And it means basically that what you give money to multiplies abundantly. And really you should be giving it to what you care about. And if it's your community, great, if it's whatever that is. But I think it's an interesting thing to think about where you're spending your money. And what does that mean? Is that in alignment with your core values? And what do you can really take a look at someone's life and hopefully they're spending on what they really care
Yeah.
about. So what
Such
do
a
you
great
guys
point.
care
I've
about?
always
What do
spent
you
most of my money on books, to be honest with you. I'm not
I know,
kidding. I
right?
used to spend
Really?
all of my money on books. I mean, there were times in my life where it was like food, books. I'm going with the books because the food, I'm going to be hungry in 30 minutes.
Right.
No matter what I eat, it's probably my metabolism. But yeah.
What was the best book you ever spent your money on?
Oh my gosh, Be As You Are by Raman Maharshi is probably one of
Oh,
the
yeah.
best books ever, for sure. I think that's one of the greatest. I still love Return to Love by Marianne Williamson.
Oh, there's so many
right?
great
There's so
ones.
many great books. Do you have a favorite, Jess?
I'm going to be honest. I
Yeah.
didn't invest my money on
No.
drugs. I
Louboutins?
yes, my money went right to my closet and to
Good.
the dinner table of wherever
Yeah.
restaurant I was
I
at.
can appreciate that. As it should, as
Yeah.
a model.
Well, yeah,
Right.
food, fashion, art, that's always been where I've invested. And it's interesting, though, because that's where I am the most abundant, right? Is my community. And that's where I've always poured my funds. So it's
Yeah,
I can
totally.
appreciate that for sure.
I think mine for sure is expanding consciousness. So whether that be through books or through masterminds or through conferences or even just in my own, of course, with spirit, my higher self for sure. But that's like my number one thing for sure.
I've also spent money on cars. I got to be honest. There was a time in my life when I was like in one car for a year, and I was like, it's fine if it's negative equity. I'm just gonna get into another one. Before
Interesting,
long,
right?
you're paying $1,000 for a Pinto.
For sure.
It's like,
Well, the reason I got my first job at the Cracker Barrel was so I could spend money on creating experiences and building the life that I wanted.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we didn't have a lot of money, but my family said, well, you can do what you want if you can pay for it. So I put on a brown apron so I could go to Paris. Do what
That
you
is
have
awesome.
to do to make your dreams a reality for
Right?
yourself.
So the invitation today is take a look at where are you spending your money, where are you spending your time, where are you giving your talents, and recognizing that that has to be multiplied abundantly. It's the law. And if you're spending on things you don't really care about, it's not in alignment with what you really want to be reflected back, multiplied, then readjust
yeah.
that.
And if you're confused, don't know where to send your money, guys, do we know where they should send it? They should send it to us. Clearly.
I take PayPal.
Venmo, Zelle, whatever you want.
I love that. But we have some amazing guests in the house, highly, highly conscious people here. So let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to hear about where they are spending their talents. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Where can you watch the stories of people changing the world? EverTalk TV, the Netflix of talk. I'm Jezza Moyer, the co-founder and host of EverTalk TV, and I am thrilled to introduce you to America's first live video streaming talk show network.
I'm so excited to be here on the couch with all you amazing people.
Yeah.
I'm just in complete awe. Thank you.
Happy to be here. And for those who don't know what goes on, this is a big old, there's a lot going on here.
lot
You do
going
this
on
every
here.
day.
Live.
God bless you guys. I mean, people, there's a lot going on.
Thank you for having me. This is an awesome studio.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, you
I feel that, actually. I can feel that.
How exciting Motivation Monday. And the guests this morning have been incredible.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you.
And we have Rachel Boston, who is in The Last Bridesmaid on Hallmark. It actually is dropping tomorrow, the 22nd, right?
It is. Tomorrow night's our premiere.
Woo!
Congratulations! I am so excited to welcome Jason and Ashley Waller to the show. Congratulations on the new beginnings. We're so excited for the premiere on MTV tonight.
Thank you guys. We appreciate it. Thank you.
The book is actually being shipped out today. It published this week.
What?
Congratulations. You guys are
Typical.
the first show that I've actually done talking about the book.
I think this is my first time my book's been up on TV. This is awesome.
Our friends at Universal Pictures have a special delivery for us this morning from a tethered himself. Have you seen the film Us by Academy Award
my
winner
gosh.
Jordan Peele?
You know, I'm sitting here next to you guys, and it's just like, this is a powerful moment for me. Like, you know, I'm humbled by it because it's like I'm sharing this movie with you guys, and you know, it's moving for me.
What are you most grateful for today?
I am so grateful to be here and to have the opportunity to be with all these wonderful, badass boss babes and with all of you. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to share the positive messages out in the world because I think the world really needs it right now.
What we've done and thanking me for the contribution we're making to their lives.
Oh,
and I thought,
nice. That's
this
great.
is what my purpose is. This is why I was born. Now,
Show it off.
Camera.
up to you to choose the winner. Is it Annie? Is it Haley?
That's why I like this show. You know, years ago I did the Dinah Show, which is Dinah Shore, and it was a daytime show. And it was kind of like this. And it was just like very up, and it was all positive stuff. They didn't bring negative stuff to the audience. And that's why I feel with this show. It's very relaxed. You know, it's very professional, but it's quite a bit of fun.
You can binge watch and binge watch.
You can binge watch.
And you can binge watch, or you can binge watch. Please binge watch.
You can binge watch and binge them on EverTalk TV. Thanks for coming. Bye.
First TV experience. I'm so happy I did it with you.
inspire, uplift, and empower you. Anytime, anywhere on EverTalk TV, your home for talk.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning, LaLa. We are talking about spending time, talent, and treasure on things that you love. And it's super important for all of us to spend time with intimacy with people that we love. And so we have an expert here, an amazing, extraordinary, conscious woman, Marla Mattinson, in the house. She is an intimacy expert for high-achieving experts, because entrepreneurs and things, so many of us get so busy all the time that we start to have that part of our life slip. I know I do it all the time. So I'm so excited that you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to be here.
So what does it mean to be an intimacy expert?
Well, first, the word intimacy is a little unsettling for people. Some people think it just means sex. Some people think it means how you connect with people. So we really need to just sort of define intimacy first. But really, it's the connection underneath every interaction that you have. So you can have an intimate interaction with your banker, right? If you're actually connected through the glass. But right, if you actually want to connect deeper with someone, you can feel if someone really cares about what you're saying or not. So if you start to care more about who is this person, what are they saying, what's important to them, and you just pause just a little bit throughout your day to connect with someone, that's creating intimacy.
But wait. Most people don't hire you to get closer with their banker.
No, they don't.
I might.
Yeah. Although we do increase income by working together, so they will visit their banker more often.
Awesome.
So why are most people hiring you for intimacy?
Yeah, most people are hiring me for intimacy because when you can have a deeply intimate, meaning honest, open, vulnerable relationship at home with your partner, I specialize in working with couples, then everything blossoms from there. So anything you can't say to your partner means you're going to shut off just a little piece of yourself throughout the day. Because if you can't say it with your partner at home and be completely honest with your partner, then when you go out into the world, there's this little part of you that you're keeping hidden and off to the side. And this is true about even if you're not in a relationship. If you have some shame or guilt or something that you want to hide from the world, then you're not shining as bright as you possibly can. So to teach how to actually be as open and honest and vulnerable in relationship at home, it opens up the channels for wealth. It opens up the channels for love.
Your mojo turns to money.
Exactly.
Which sounds very tempting, but there's something to be said about mystery, isn't there? Because I've always been taught that within relationships, maybe not being fully open and wholly vulnerable, especially in the beginning, it's better to have a little bit of mystery. Okay. Not because there's guilt or shame around something, but why should I tell you everything?
I love that. Okay, so this is a different type of energetic. So mystery can be expressed through novelty, through doing different new things together that you're aware of because you're planning it, but your partner's not. That's an intrigue and mystery that develops
so
more
you're telling
juiciness.
me I shouldn't be a mystery.
So if you're a mystery, exactly.
I've been doing this wrong the whole time.
If you're the mystery, then you're essentially forcing your partner to have to figure you out.
Yes.
And they will probably get it wrong.
Every time.
Right. Okay. So that means that you're sending them on a wild goose chase to try to find you. And if you know who you are, which I think you do, if you know who you are, then you want to just vulnerably reveal all that. So you don't have to go through all the drama and chaos of relationship. You can skip all that. You can just go, there's plenty of drama and chaos in revealing who you really are. You don't need to create it at all. Mysteriousness and having an open relationship with yourself and your partner really is more like throwing a bomb in the mix that's going to go off at some point, rather than
sorry for the bomb.
Sorry for the bombs. And we all kind of do it because we hide from ourselves also, right? Unintentionally.
So I've heard, and I don't have the stats in front of me, but I've heard that if your intimate area of your life is good, it actually helps your business. Like it actually, there's a correlation they found, like literally your mojo equals more money.
Yes. Yes. So, I mean, you can just logically think about it, right? If you wake up every day and you feel happy and you feel pleasure flowing through your body and you feel like, things are great at home, I'm going to go crush it out there. Nothing can stop me. And you really feel like, whole and complete on your own. You've got your pleasure flowing through your body, and then you're on purpose. And this is about growth-based relationships. So this is not for people who want to kind of hide out and be in the drama. It's really for people who want to grow into the best version of themselves every day and do it either by themselves or with a partner.
I love this. So there is a difference then in terms of the intimacy between coming from a place of sort of need and desperation versus coming from a place where you're accustomed to like self-soothing and you're emotionally regulated and you're connecting from that space and place. So how can a person do that? Because I think often we think of intimacy and often it feels very sort of need-driven and desperate.
Yes, yes.
You know?
So I hate this word, kind of authentic, but you want to be authentic because it kind of can mean so many different things. But in the moment, so let's say if Julian, who's my business love and life partner, if he does something that annoys me, which happens from time to time. Okay?
He's amazing. Big shout out to Julian.
Okay,
We love
huge shout out to
Julian.
Julian.
Amazing.
Yes, and he knows how to handle me. If he does something that annoys me, I can do one of two things with it. I can either sort of stuff it for another time, or I can bring it to the surface with a lot of love and support for me and for feeling annoyed, and also for him and filled with compassion. So I can either not share it or I can share it. How I share it matters. So I can either attack, which is not,
Doesn't generally work.
Doesn't generally work, right? And sometimes we do it unconsciously. So it's not about being perfect. It's about catching yourself sooner and sooner when you do want to attack.
Okay.
And so instead, you want to just share vulnerably and say, hey, I just got to share with you. I'm feeling really activated by what just happened. And I'd love to know a little bit more about why you chose to do this, because I'm making up a whole story around why you chose to do it, and I'm annoyed by it.
Right.
Right, so that's the vulnerable share.
So let's talk a little bit more about real intimacy, because Jazz and I met you at this beautiful dinner over at the farm with, I want to give a shout out to Chris Winfield and Jen Gottlieb, who brought a bunch of influencers together, and everyone kind of went around and said a bunch of stuff. And at the end, you were one of the last people to talk, and you spoke a bit about actually intimacy and revving up, tell me if I'm saying it wrong, but really revving up through pleasure and through maybe even orgasm.
Yes.
And I was like, I'll have what she's having over there, right? And we immediately clicked.
Yes.
I love your work and your energy and everything you guys are up to. But tell us how that intimacy and real pleasure how do you help people in that area?
Right, well, anyone who's an expert in any field, if they're not doing the work themselves, then they're probably not an expert. There's 3 different ways to be an expert. You can be a research-based expert, where you researched it. You can be an experiential-based expert, or you can be a straight-up channeler, right, where you're just straight-up channeling, right? I'm all 3, right? I've researched, I am experiential, and also I straight-up channel. So if you want to learn more about pleasure and how to experience pleasure and intimacy in your body, you want to talk to somebody who's actually practicing it. And so what does that mean? I realized for me that I was trying to contain the amount of pleasure that I could receive. And I didn't even realize how deeply ingrained that was. Like, don't be too big and too bold and too much for people, and how that impacted in the bedroom. And I'm pretty free and open in the bedroom, but even just very recently, Julian and I found another way in for pleasure, and he helped me increase your capacity to receive, Marla, is what he said. So when we're intimate, increase your capacity to receive. And what that means is, because so much sensation running through your body can be uncomfortable. This is why people don't up-level to the next place in their life also in business. It's because it's uncomfortable. It's physically uncomfortable. It's mentally uncomfortable. It's emotionally uncomfortable. And when all 3 of those things are happening at the same time in the bedroom, usually people kind of shut down a little bit or go a little unconscious. And instead, if you lean into it, like Pema Chodron talks about leaning into the sharp edges, you lean in and then you realize, oh, all of that fear, all of that containment was really just a hologram for me. I can just expand to the capacity of the universe.
It sounds really woo-woo.
It's super
woo. And you really are a highly, highly educated woman.
Yes.
You have so much to bring to the table. And it's kind of almost like, get it in concept, and you have glimpses of, pure pleasure and receiving and all this stuff. But I gotta get moving in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have hours to hang out and have intimate. We live in a very fast-paced world.
Okay, well, let's talk about the practicality of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so my background is in mathematics and neuroscience. Okay, so yes, I got a ton of woo, but I'm also very, very researched. This is what I love. So here's what's happening on a daily basis, right? We are listening to a very archaic system inside of us, our fight, flight, or freeze response. We're listening to that and it's driving us every day. We're also listening to our 5 senses, which, as you know, are limited. The visible spectrum of light and what humans can see is a very small portion of that. Our hearing, the hearing spectrum, what sounds can be heard and what humans can hear, very small. So, and temperature, right? You'll burn or you'll freeze. So all of our 5 senses are lying to us every day, all day long. And when we get activated, well, here we go, let's go down the rabbit hole. You know, right? And so we're making our choices and our decisions based on lies, based on partial information. And we also know memory is also a big lie. I don't know if you've been watching The Mind Explained recently, but on Netflix, they've got this great special. It's mind-blowing because our memory is also not true. You remember things, complete memory, and it's not really true. So why do we get so upset about things? Why do we allow ourselves to get upset by our partner or by anyone or by any circumstance? It's because we're trained to just listen to that fight, flight, or freeze response, and then we have our natural family lineage patterns that we were gifted. Oh, here's how you respond in a conflict. Oh, here's how you respond with intimacy. What did your parents teach you about pleasure? Consciously or unconsciously? That's what you're doing. That's what you're acting out in the pleasure realm in your relationship now. Wow. Sorry to break that to everybody. And there's something you can do about it, right? So what happens? So we're still human, right? So that means you're gonna have your responses, they're gonna happen. And how quickly you come out of that habitual pattern of the fight or the freeze response, and then how you can lessen that intensity. Those are the only things that matter. How fast can you pivot and realize, oh my gosh, I went down a negative path, right? And this is what you teach all day long. This is what this whole show is about, is how do you come out of the negativity and live a genuine positive life?
It's so beautiful, but I love your specific expression of it and working with these high-level entrepreneurs. They're making 6, 7 figures, and yet they're not actually having pleasure. So like, what's the point, you know? It's just a rat race. And so I'm so glad that you've touched so many people's lives and keep up the amazing work. How do people work with you? Do they work one-on-one? Do they come to group things? How do they find you? You're also a speaker.
Yes.
And a writer.
Yes.
You've written for all kinds of places, right?
I've written for all kinds of places. I had a relationship column on entrepreneur.com for a while. I read a lot of articles. I get quoted in a lot of things. And on the Intimacy Experts on Instagram is the best place to follow us and get all the good, juicy information. And my website, marlamanson.com, people can find me to work with me privately. I don't do any group programs anymore. We do something really fun called the Exploratorium, which is a 2-day in-person for 1 couple at a time in our private home in Venice. And it's exploring your family lineage patterns around pleasure and joy and coming through it just totally amplified and sexy together as a couple.
That sounds intimidating just
I know it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. But those
You first, Erin, you first.
Instagram.
Yeah, start with
See what
Instagram.
happens. Thank you so much, Marla. We
Thank
appreciate you.
you.
Stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow. Good morning, LaLa Land.
You watch the stories of people changing the world. EverTalk TV, the Netflix of talk.
Tell me where I'm holding. If you could describe the legacy you want to leave behind in a couple of words, what would it be?
You know, the person who made a massive dent in the world of loneliness. You know, it's the #1 health epidemic that we're facing in the world today. It's the #1 predictor of our mortality. It's more likely to kill you than smoking, heart disease, traffic, the flu, sitting. And if I can make a dent in the world of loneliness, then that to me is everything.
Aw, I love your message and I love your story. And for you guys out there, go download Hey Vina. It's really, really remarkable. I downloaded it. They ask questions that actually help target who you're looking for and who you're looking to network with and become friends with. Thank you. If you like this, please share it, please comment it, and thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
EverTalk is #community powered, so we are excited to offer you a free 30-day subscription to explore the talk shows that will bring you timeless entertainment and evergreen conversations that will inspire, uplift, and empower you anytime, anywhere at EverTalk TV.
We'll be right back.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. I am so excited to welcome Nick Basta to the show, starring in Harriet, one of the hottest and most talked about films right now. Congratulations on all the massive success, by the way. Yeah. Premiering at TIFF. Tell us a little bit about this experience, this journey with Harriet for you.
Well, I'm not really starring in it. I'm more of a supporting part that's not a nice guy. So we can start there.
That's stars for me, darling.
Important part, though, one of the main villains. It's been a great journey. It's been about a year. We filmed in Richmond, Virginia. I'm from the East Coast in North Carolina. So we filmed a year ago. You know, to tell the story of Harriet, who should be on the $20 bill, hopefully, when we vote.
We say Harriet Tubman, one of the greatest American heroes.
Yeah, there's never been a feature about her. There've been a couple TV movies, I think, but nothing like this. Cynthia Erivo's playing Harriet, and she really, she won the Tony for Color Purple, and she elevates the movie to incredible realm. I'm playing the overseer, so I'm doing nasty things most of the movie.
Let's take a look at the trailer for Harriet.
I don't know if you know how extraordinary this is, but you have made it 100 miles to freedom all by yourself. Would you like to pick a new name to mark your freedom?
Harriet Tubman. You are welcome here anytime. If I'm free, my family should be too. I made up my mind, I'm going back.
Harriet, welcome to the Underground Railroad. Everybody, everywhere is looking for you.
God don't mean people to own people. Ready?
What an honor to be part of such a powerful part of our history. And so what's that been like for you?
Well, it's been fantastic. I'm from upstate New York, like I mentioned, you know, and Harriet died in Auburn, New York, at 91, having saved, I think the numbers are 700 slaves. So it's good, even though I'm, again, not the nicest guy in the world, I'm able to be part of the history of it.
Well, you're not your role, so we forgive you.
Thank you.
What kind of research or preparation went into this film for you?
Well, they gave us a couple books, which is great. A biography written by a woman in Charlottesville, I believe. And you have to find the hero in every part. So, you know, my part is Fox, the overseer, and so you just got to think that he's just trying to feed his family, and it's a job. Harriet's plantation didn't have a lot. There was only probably like 25, as opposed to other larger plantations in the eastern shore of Maryland. And this becomes a chase movie, really. It's like a superhero movie. It's not really a slave film like 12 Years. It's more of a superhero. That's what they said. Like she puts on her cape, and she's got superpowers, and she kind of does.
I love that. What's been your journey in Hollywood as an actor?
Well, I'm mostly East Coast. I don't come out here very much, and so I've done a lot of things. You know, of course, Law and Orders and some theater. I'm a theater guy at heart. I went to ART at Harvard for my training in the MFA.
Slacker.
Yeah, you know, it was tough. I lived in North Carolina for a few years, so I've done a lot of period pieces. I was in Turn, Washington Spies, the American Revolution show. And funny story, I rode the same horse in Turn that I did in Harriet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Charlie.
Charlie.
Wow. We're
friends. Famous horse.
Nick, I'm very curious. Did you know from a young age that you were going to pursue a career?
Probably.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you know, looking for attention in any single way. So. But I did an art school thing, and then I lived in New Orleans for a while doing music. And
What was the first role you ever played?
Peter Pan, Nibs, was the lost boy.
Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
That works.
So what would you tell for somebody out there that really loves art and loves the craft? What could you tell them? What kind of hacks?
Pick something else? You know, you just got to have passion. I actually, all the energy I've had for the last year and a half, you know, I've done Stargirl and I did True Detective last year. I did a couple pilots, and I'm also in the Gloria Steinem movie. That's coming out, I think, in 6 or 8 months with Julie Taymor and Lisa Vikander. I would tell them you got to find passion because you can't get through any day without truly waking up.
Amen.
So I'm writing the Yogi Berra script actually.
Oh,
I got the
really?
rights to Yogi Berra.
Oh,
She's got some of the
I
greatest
love
quotes.
that. Some of the best.
Wow. Yeah.
And not only did he do that, but he was also an 18-time All-Star, and he was an immigrant. I'm Italian, and he's Italian. Our parents came around the same time through Ellis Island. He was 5'7". Everyone thought he was stupid. He was short. He was not attractive. You know, it's a journey that's important to me. So I wake up every morning, and I told you I write 3 hours every day, and I'm on the 6th draft of the screenplay. And that's my passion. So that's what I would tell them.
Wow.
Find something you care about, because if you don't, do something else.
Totally
Was
agree.
there ever a point where you thought you wouldn't continue in this path?
I don't know. I got a disease.
Yeah. Always been
Resilience.
committed.
I mean, you find other things to do. There's been a year where I didn't work, and you try to. I also teach college. I teach theater at UNCW in Wilmington. So.
You're very humble.
Yes, he is.
I think there's this whole thing, especially in the film industry particularly, where there's a real value around staying humble.
Yeah.
What is that?
I was born middle class, I guess. It's the theme of the Yogi Berra movie.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
hands. It's not work until you get your hands dirty, that kind of thing. And my grandfather's a florist, and you just know the value of a dollar, and you're trying to figure out how to get through the day, and
Thank you for your hard work and all the art that you're bringing to the world. Please tell everyone where they can find and follow you, and of course see Harriet.
at Nick Basta NYC.
Fantastic.
All
And
right.
Premiere tomorrow at the Orpheum in LA. So.
All right. What an amazing story.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
We
Thanks
appreciate
very
you.
much.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Where can you watch the stories of people changing the world? EverTalk TV, the Netflix of talk.
Welcome to the show. Today we have Life Master Tony Lanning. Today we have a very special guest, Alon Torres. Today we have a very special guest, Mark Harari, on the show, and he is you have really inspired me, because you walk the walk, you talk the talk.
It's never too late, no matter what your age. Doesn't matter if you're young, it doesn't matter if you're older.
Over the last 10 plus years, 12 years, it's been this journey where as I was continuing to help others, I was helping myself. As I went deeper, I was able to bring people deeper.
But you've got to put it aside. You've got to put it aside.
Right, that's one of his tips, is leave the at the door.
Drop it at the door.
But we can't give you too many more little tips, because we're going to give away the whole thing. But there is a video, if you click below.
I'm Life Master Tony Lanning.
Yay! See how easy that was?
EverTalk is hashtag community powered, so we are excited to offer you a free 30-day subscription to explore the talk shows that will bring you timeless entertainment and evergreen conversations that will inspire, uplift, and empower you anytime, anywhere at EverTalk TV. Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning LaLa. And on this hashtag Miracle Monday, this man has lifestyle perfected. Nadav, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So
It's
what
great
was
to
your
be here.
journey to perfecting life the way you have?
Well, it's always a continuous journey, right, firstly. But it was really, I built multiple companies in my 20s. And I did it from a place of not feeling good enough, feeling stressed, kind of wanting to make money because I felt like I was lacking something. And after I sold those businesses, I really got that I didn't want to do it the same way again. And I want to do it from a place of feeling good and a place of just enjoying the journey, right? That's like the cliche thing to do and say, but that's really what I wanted. And so that's what I focused on creating at that point.
I think it's so amazing about you. Again, Jez and I met through Chris and Jen, again, at that one event. And you come across very Burning Man-esque and kind of free spirit, but you're very grounded in your entrepreneurship. And you had a lot of different projects and everything from the retreat center. Tell me how to pronounce the one, the institute in Costa Rica.
You give it a try, and then I tell you if you did it right.
Imaloa?
Yeah.
Okay.
You nailed it. There you go.
Not easy to pronounce. You do so many different projects, really grounded in entrepreneurial spirit, and yet you're very ethereal and spiritual, which is, I think, unique. It's a great balance. You've got one foot firmly placed in both the worldly and ethereal realm.
Yeah.
How did you get to be able to do that?
Yeah, I think it's really just seeing that. Well, lifestyle perfected in the focus is really that woo-woo spiritual side, and then bringing on executive management tools, right? And that's what I realized in my journey. I was like, coaching is great. And when I get coached, have you ever had coaches, or do you ever use them?
I've got two. A happiness and a doctor of divinity.
Perfect.
So
You have two amazing coaches. Yeah, so I really realized that when I got coached, I would get insights, and I would kind of feel that shift in vibration, but it didn't always stick. Right? Like maybe 30% of what I got would stick, and then when I did consulting, or when I got consulted, I wasn't always getting the results I wanted. Like I had the strategies, you can read strategies in books, you can hear them from people, watch YouTube videos. I mean, there's so many places to get them. But when those strategies were built on top of limiting beliefs or vibrational misalignment, I wouldn't be able to execute in the way that I wanted to do so. Right. So I put that together, and I really, realized the way I feel and my beliefs are really the foundation of what I can build on. And once I'm aligned with that, or once, that's what we do with our clients, we focus on aligning them in that you actually can execute. And so we bring in project management systems, financial management, customer relationship management systems. We even work with the calendar. The calendar, we say, is a reflection of self-love, right? So if you really love yourself and truly focus on
this is a calendar, but it really is. Yeah, it really is. Like I remember years back, like I would put some in my calendar, and then I just not even think about it. I'd be like, oh, I put it on my calendar, but I didn't actually do it. Yeah. And then when you get like your priorities and your values and what you really want to do, and it becomes your reverence. It's amazing. So how do you help people do that? How do you get them to know what to put on their calendar? Yeah, I mean that part's really easy. It's doing what you love, right? It's what is your ideal day, and the key is really knowing that we deserve and receive to have what we want, right? And so I'm putting out a course called Time Creation Mastery in the next few weeks, and the first thing is really going, okay, what do I love to do? Like, what do I want my days to look like, my weeks to look like, what do I want my year to look like, and setting a structure, but knowing that we deserve to have that. So
I've got to say though, that seems like a luxury. Most people who aren't in Los Angeles are living this woo lifestyle saying, great, I don't have the luxury of designing my day and my life. I've got a job, I need to provide for my family. So what is maybe one accessible first step for the people who aren't designing their lives in LaLa Land? Yeah, I think just take that first step, right? If you want to spend more time with your family, you can take that step. If there's something that you used to do when you were a child, like some sport or something like that, even at work, right? I think when people have jobs, we feel like, well, I'm at the mercy of my employer. But normally it's just about asking for something that we want. And that's what I would say is the biggest first step. If you feel stuck in something that you're wanting to do and you feel like there's an external force that's preventing you from doing that, look within first and have the courage to actually ask for what you want. And that might be, hey, I want to work from home one day a week, or I'd like to take time to do a sport, yoga, or whatever it might be that I want. Or, I want to leave an hour earlier to be able to take my son or daughter to their sports game. And just asking for that is really the first step. And it really will start moving that ball forward and having you feel free to be able to do what you want to do.
Fantastic. I would imagine a lot of it has to do with trust too, right? Because sometimes it's about asking for permission. Other times maybe you have to ask for sort of forgiveness. But I know for me, the challenge was sort of getting around this idea that it's like no pain, no gain, and that I could actually be more successful if I did more of what I loved. It takes a lot of trust, though. Yeah. So how do people cultivate that trust, when they haven't had the experience of doing something they love or enjoying the work more and prioritizing that and then finding success as a result? Yeah, I mean, trust is huge, right? I think it's one of the biggest things, and it's really about creating. It's like I said in the morning, right? If you wake up in the morning and start cultivating the idea that I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to trust myself to make the choices that I want to make. I'm going to trust that the universe is good, and I'm going to flow downstream, and it's going to bring me what I want. And I think when we trust ourselves, we can actually start trusting other people. And we want to know that we have people in our lives who support us, right? We want to know that we can trust people. The relationships that we have are ones that we want the best for each other.
And
But I'm sure someone watching this are like, okay, well, that's easy for you. You're this, hot guy and this stuff in LA, and you're, But I think that, and I don't know about you, but for me, I had to kind of like strip away everything that I had been programmed in, almost renounce everything mentally, and then reshift, like, what do I actually care about? And then come back into business, come back into things like a calendar, come back into world. How do people do that don't have the luxury of going off to a Burning Man and losing themselves in it, and then, birthing themselves to come back into, designing their life how they want to?
Yeah.
I know it's like daily things, but did you have to go through something like that, where you had to go way out and then come back in?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up from humble beginnings. Like anything I wanted, I had to work for, and I'm really grateful for that. But for me, what really, I call it actually a passion pivot, right? And passion pivots can either happen like, hey, you know what? You could be watching this and say, I'm going to sit down and start working with my calendar to make shifts, or you can wait 2 years until you're stressed, have a disease, are forced to change your life.
Or
right?
you can go down to Costa Rica,
Yeah.
or the retreat center.
Yeah, you can do that. But I think it's really these little steps. Like that's the biggest thing. Watching a show like this that gives you information. There's tons of information on YouTube. There's courses you can take.
Mm-hmm.
I think that normally people think it's some huge step, but for me, I worked really hard. I built and sold my companies, and I felt like I had the success, which I did. Mm-hmm. And I realized one day that I was happy, but I was not fulfilled. And in that moment, I literally left everything. I was an executive of a 700-person company that had bought our company. I lived in a penthouse in San Diego. I really went from not having any money to having things that I wanted. And that was actually one of the biggest lessons, was walking away from something that was super good, right? So sometimes you walk away from bad situations, but at this point I walked away from a really good situation, and it was one of the biggest gifts of my life. So
That takes courage, for sure. My gosh. So how can people work with you? Do you do one-on-ones? Do you do group things? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I do one-on-ones with CEOs. Our whole programs are built around CEOs and their teams. Programs that are more accessible, we have Time Creation Masteries coming out. That one is coming out in a couple weeks. And we're doing a $97 a month group coaching program, really, that anyone can join. But if you just go to Instagram and follow Nadav Wilf, you can get information on all of these things.
Amazing.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
We appreciate
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow. Good morning,
Thanks so much.
You watch the stories of people changing the world. EverTalk TV, the Netflix of talk.
Today I'm officially coming out of the closet as a mother. I've never publicly announced it. I've been a model for 15 years, and now I'm finally letting people know I have 2 kids. I have a 16-year-old son, and my 13-year-old son will be 14 in another month and a half. Obviously explaining that I have a 16-year-old, people are gonna be like, wait, how old are you? And I'm under 40, I'm 36. Okay, let's just get that out there.
Oh, wow.
Coming out of the closet again.
You came out twice already today.
I know, oh my gosh.
I hope that our viewers are watching this to realize that when you have a passion and when it pays the bills and you can live a good life and provide for your children, there should be no shame in what you do.
Right.
EverTalk is #community powered, so we are excited to offer you a free 30-day subscription to explore the talk shows that will bring you timeless entertainment and evergreen conversations that will inspire, uplift, and empower you anytime, anywhere at EverTalk TV. Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning LaLa. And this #Movie Monday, we've got director Matthew Kowalski with us, talking his Oscar-qualifying short, Atlas. Good morning, Matthew.
Hello, I'm very glad to be here, thank you.
We're grateful that you're here, so tell us a little bit about the film.
So it's a bit surreal comedy about getting unstuck. The main character, Atlas, is a catatonic patient in a psychiatric ward. And throughout the movie, he's stuck. He's a riddle. We don't know his backstory. And what I find very universal and very powerful in the movie is that during the short, he becomes unstuck. and it's shaking things up in a big way, and I think we all need that in our lives.
Have you experienced that yourself?
Oh, a lot, a lot.
Stuck a couple times, huh?
So my story is I was studying film directing and medicine at the same time, and I was stuck at this decision process for a number of years, and I couldn't let any of the two go. And it took me 4 years of struggling and doing two at the same time to finally embrace filmmaking exclusively, and this was a big break for me.
So
It was
what
big getting
what was
unstuck.
the unstuck moment? What was the decision? What something happened, or was it?
Oh yeah, something happened.
Uh-huh.
And so it was in the final year of medical studies, and what you get there, there was a shift on hospital ward. So you're surrounded by terminally ill patients who don't have a lot to look forward to, and there was this group of students and doctors going from bed to bed, and the head doctor asks this elderly lady, "Is there anything more we can do for you, ma'am?" And she said, "If you could just move over, because this movie is important to me." And there was a TV behind it. And I was like, wow, like this was a eureka moment to me. Would I rather make this movie or rather prescribe the pill? And to me, that was a calling. Like,
wow, that's so much more profound than most of the folks that I know who felt like organic chemistry for the third time. They're like, oh, the pre-med route's not going to work. That is so much more profound. Your experience.
Yeah. It was a big one. It was a big one, I have to tell you.
Wow. Did you ever revisit that decision after that?
Thankfully, no. Yeah. Thankfully, no. Once I've embraced the path in this way, of course, I struggle as we all do, but I do not struggle with doubts whether that was a good decision or not.
So today we're talking a little bit about where we do spend our time, talent, and treasures, and how it has to come back multiplied abundantly. So what's it been like since you made that decision? And obviously you're having success, but how have you found that putting effort and energy and talent into that, how's it multiplying? How's it reflecting back in your life?
Oh, it's multiplying 100-fold, I feel, because the suffering is the name of the game in life. Like, this is what the Buddha said, and it's unescapable. And I think what makes sense is to sacrifice and suffer for the right cause, and to feel that it's coming back to you and to your loved ones and to the people around you.
This is profound. Like, will you please just say that again so the audience can hear this? It's
oh
so
gosh,
profound.
I forgot the mumbo jumbo that I just said.
It's so profound.
I didn't note it down, I'm sorry.
You were talking about how basically we're always going to have suffering. We're human beings, and if you're going to suffer anyway, you might as well suffer in what really matters to you.
Thank you for putting down the loose thoughts that I had.
It's really profound, and that's where we call Dharma in your work. It's really a reverency and giving of yourself to that, and that's what you're doing. And I know that woman, from a metaphor, she's sitting in that deathbed, watching your profound work, and you're touching lives on all different areas. So it's so amazing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for putting it all together. That's another inspirational moment for me. I'll remember this one.
So what's next for you in your journey with Atlas?
I'm gonna see. It's in the Oscar race at the moment, so the next step is getting shortlisted.
So is this the first time you've been in the Oscar race? I mean,
for sure.
Incredible. That's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you. And by the way, it's a short I've written when I was in the medical school. Yeah. So I wrote it on the fourth year of medical university. It was inspired by a real patient that I've encountered. So there really was a catatonic patient on a psychiatric ward I was doing a shift at. And he was a riddle. He was a real life riddle, because there you have a man who's standing motionless entire day. And nobody knows his story. And what was fascinating to me was how the entire ward, all the patients, all the other doctors, or the students, after a short time, they felt compelled to write up the story they didn't know. It's as if we cannot let other people be a blank page. And what I found really, what really stuck with me was that this person couldn't tell his story, so we wrote up his. And I think the world won't wait for us to write our story. The world will do it for us.
That's true.
That's why we have to be very adamant in writing up our story, in
Oh.
defining ourselves. Because
love that.
if we don't, somebody else will.
Yes.
And it might not be the box we want to be put in. It might be the random
They will
box.
write you into their script.
And the Oscar goes to Matthew.
Yes, we definitely nominate you.
Please tell everyone where they can find and follow your journey and watch the film.
So you can find the film at Atlas, the short film, and I hope you're gonna hear more of the movie.
I know for certainly we'll hear more of you regardless.
For sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
for
Matthew.
Divine work.
having me.
We are Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. All of today's interviews are available as a podcast on iTunes, and the whole show is streaming on EverTalk TV, on Apple TV, and Roku.
That's right. We're waking up the world together. You guys have a miracle Monday, mindful Monday. Make it happen.
Movie Monday, and be sure to check out Atlas. It's going to be a Good Morning La La Land.